On this James the Bike Guy, we're taking a look at the 2021 Trek Top Fuel 9.7. This is a new downcountry mountain bike from Trek, and it brings more capability to the XC or cross-country category. So we're going to go into some of the features and designs of this new bike from Trek, as well as go over some of the updates. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel, as well as leave your comments down below with what you think about this bike. Getting into the 2021 Trek Top Fuel, this bike has the same main frame as what you had in 2020, where Trek updated the Top Fuel to be more of a downcountry style XC bike. And what downcountry is basically a lengthened and adapted version of a cross-country bike, so that you have more suspension travel, more confident control over rough terrain and rocky situations, but you still get the snappy, fast handling and fast climbing of a cross-country bike. And the Top Fuel really embodies this type of riding. Trek added their Super Caliber series a few years ago, which gives a super aggressive knife edge cross-country race bike. And then they have their Trek Fuel EX, which is one of the best-selling all-around mountain bikes. And the Top Fuel now has slotted in that more aggressive XC category that a lot of people call downcountry. So this bike has 120 millimeters of front suspension travel, and then it's got 115 millimeters of rear travel, which, if we go back to cross-country technology, normally that would be 100 up front and 100 in the rear. The neat thing, though, for 2021 is, even though this is the same carbon OCLV mainframe, the bike gets a full carbon rear end. So Trek has done for 2021 where all the carbon versions get a full carbon frame, which is a real nice upgrade, because in previous years it used to be the 9.9 version of the Top Fuel would be the only one with a carbon rear end. Looking at the rest of this bike, though, this carbon frame is absolutely gorgeous. So you get their straight shot down tube, which is a straight down tube allowing for a much stiffer front end. It also means you get knock block, and what that does is that keeps the handlebar from spinning around and the fork coming in contact with the down tube. Going through the back of the bike, we're gonna get a couple of other neat things. So not only do you get this awesome carbon rear triangle, but you're gonna get Trek's ABP suspension pivot. And what ABP is it's two pivots, one in the seat stay and one in the chain stay, that are concentric around the rear axle. And what that does for you is that basically allows the rear end of the bike to have almost no brake jack or no input coming from the brakes, so that stays fully active. And then the way they engineer this bike in, it's going to give really great pedaling efficiency. You can see that the chainstay pivot, it is both higher and forward of the axle for your crank. And what that's going to allow for is a really efficient climber. The other neat thing is you can adjust the geometry on this bike with their Minnow Link. What the Minnow Link is basically an adjustment on the eyelet of the shock that allows you to adjust this rocker link in a high or a low position. And basically what that allows for is a half a degree of head tube angle and seat tube angle change, and almost 10 millimeters of bottom bracket height change. And that allows you to really change the bicycle's personality very quick and very easy. So speaking of personality, along with the 120 millimeters of front suspension and 115 millimeters of rear suspension, the bike's gonna have a reasonably slack head tube, especially for the category of bike, with a 67.5 degree head tube angle and a 68 degree head tube angle when you put it in high position. Similar things happen with the rear end. So you're gonna have a 75 degree seat tube angle in low and 75.5 degree seat tube angle in high, which is gonna give you a nice position to be perched, so you have good pedaling efficiency. And then finally, the chainstay length of this bike is pretty snappy at 435 millimeters. Of course, depending on size, there's going to be different reach and stack adjustments, but what you should know is basically this has a longer reach than the previous generation of Top Fuel. It's going to come with a much shorter stem, nice wide handlebars to make this a very capable bike. So let's start checking out the specs on the 9.7. So the 9.7 is the beginning level of the carbon lineup. So that means this is going to come with SRAM's NX Eagle drivetrain. So you've got the 1x rear derailleur with an 11 to 50 tooth rear cassette. That's going to be pedaled through a NX Eagle chain to the SRAM NX crankset. The crankset's running a 32 tooth ring. It's got the dub spindle, and it's going to be a press fit bottom bracket. Checking out the shock on the back, this has the Fox DPS float shock. This has an E-Volve canister. It's also going to be remote adjust on the handlebar that we'll look at soon. And with the black coating on it, it looks quite nice on the bike. Running to the front shock, you've got the brand new for 2021 RockShox Reba RL. This is an updated version of the RockShox Reba. This is set up with 120 millimeters of suspension travel. It's got a 46 millimeter offset to it, and this is going to run a motion control damping unit, but you'll see this is remote lockout as well. So that's a pretty neat feature, is the bike is going to come with RockShox twist lock lockout mechanism. This is basically a grip shift lockout mechanism where you can twist with your hand, lock it in place, push the button, and unlock the suspension. So that's going to allow you to control right on the fly, right on the handlebar, whether or not you want the bike in a locked or unlocked position. You'll notice right next to it, you've got the thumb lever for your dropper post, and that's because this bike is actuating a Bontrager line dropper. So this is a 31.6 dropper post, and then you'll be perched up on a Bontrager Montrose saddle in a 138 millimeter width. For a cockpit, we talked about a nice wide handlebar, and it's going to have the Bontrager Comp alloy handlebar. This is 750 millimeters of width. It's got a 15 millimeter rise and 31.8 millimeter bar clamp. Jumping down to the wheels, we've got the Bontrager Covey Comp wheel set. This is going to be a tubeless ready wheel set. It's got 23 millimeter internal width to it, and it's going to be laced up to Bontrager's rapid drive hubs. You've got Boost 110 hub up front, and then in back it's going to be Boost 148 with the 54 tooth engagement rapid drive hub. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I absolutely love the Bontrager rapid drive hubs. For about $30, you can upgrade the hub set with 3 more pawls and 3 more springs to be able to bring the engagement up to 108 teeth, which is a super high engaging hub for really low cost and super easy upgrade. Last thing to mention on the bike is going to be the XR3 team issue tires. These are coming in a 29 by 2.4. You can see that this is a reasonably aggressive tire for an XC bike. You've got strong tread blocks on the side. You've got siping through the center. Should make for a nice fast rolling tire that's going to handle super well. So now that we've taken a look at the 2021 Trek Top Fuel 9.7, let's go ahead and find out what this bike weighs. The actual weight of the Trek Top Fuel 9.7 is going to come in and weigh 28.44 pounds. Thanks for watching this video on the 2021 Trek Top Fuel 9.7. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this new bike from Trek. Let me know what you think about the new design, the new downcountry geometry. Let me know if you'd pick this over a Fuel, or would you go for a Super Caliber instead? All that would be loved to know down in the comments section. While you're at it, make sure you give a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoyed the video, and definitely hit the subscribe button. That way you can see more videos like this into the future.